Every child comes with the message that God is not yet discouraged of man. Rabindranath Tagore. This is the closing quote of DC Comics' massive crossover with the Watchmen universe, Doomsday Clock. For those unfamiliar with The Watchmen, Alan Moore's magnum opus is one of the most highly acclaimed comic series of all time. Its universe is home to legendary characters, it's broken sales record around the world, and birthed cinematic offerings such as Zack Snyder's film in 2009 and the multiple Emmy-nominated TV series on HBO. When Jeff Johns announced he would be helming the DC crossover event, many fans were elated as John's work on other DC properties had been largely met with praise. Not looking at you, the producer credit on the Green Lantern movie. The introduction of the Watchmen into DC's continuity had been hinted at heavily over the span of years, and by late into DC Rebirth, many believed that the titular Watchmen alumni had played a pivotal part in rewriting DC's continuity post the New 52. And as we later found out, this just so happened to be the case, as it was revealed that none other than Dr. Manhattan had been experimenting with the effects of time manipulation on DC's continuity, even dating as far back as the initial introduction of Superman in 1938. Now obviously this is a massive retcon, but the storyline and meta development to the DC landscape was revolutionary, which brings us to present day, where it appears Dr. Manhattan is more popular than ever. Yet this is where it gets tricky. If you have a character that can exist and view all points in time simultaneously throughout the multiverse, how can he possibly be introduced into a video game format, let alone a fighting game in a balanced way? Well, I want you to keep in mind that this is all off the heels of the big E3 leaks back in May 2020, which have yet to be confirmed or debunked, which claims that the good Blue Doctor himself will be gracing Injustice 3 as a future DLC option. That's what we're here to discuss today, and as we theory craft, I want you to scroll down and take a look at my subscriber count and consider adding yourself to that number. A channel of my size appreciates all of your support, and if you want to leave a like rating on the video, hey, I'd love to chat with you and hear your thoughts on this character as well in the comments below. So, let's begin. Now, in order to get an understanding of how Dr. Manhattan would play as a character in Injustice 3, it's important to get a brief snapshot of his powers so we're all on the same page. He possesses the power of matter manipulation, telekinesis, teleportation, and limited clairvoyance. He's able to see the past, present, and future simultaneously, and it's heavily implied that he's immortal, so effectively he's a god, lowercase g. See, this big blue Boy Scout is so powerful that he is the epitome of enlightenment. Yet all of this cosmic awareness comes at a price, as Dr. Manhattan is effectively so powerful that he can't do anything. Because he knows everything that has happened or will happen to him, he is unable to truly do anything of his own free will. He refers to himself simply as a puppet who can see the strings. And while we have seen him do extraordinary acts of violence such as disintegration, levitation, and dismemberment, which could hint at him being a character with excellent screen control abilities similar to Martian Manhunter in Injustice 1, he also is capable of closing in quickly on opponents with teleportation, as well as simultaneously clone creations, Naruto Ultimate Clone Jujutsu style. So pinning down a playstyle for this character is akin to throwing every color of paint I have bought, ever will bought, and am currently buying onto a canvas the size of a YouTube thumbnail in hopes that it makes a meaningful kaleidoscope Rorschach test for my viewers. Because this character is so overpowered, I decided to pick one route and chase that rabbit hole to the end in consideration of this video's runtime and your attention span. Point blank, Dr. Manhattan is most likely a zoning character, as straight up rushing down and brawling just isn't his style. While Injustice does have a history of making some of the most overpowered zoners in fighting game history, looking at you Superman and Deadshot, I do believe that Dr. Manhattan fits this bill perfectly. We've repeatedly been shown his character dismembering machinery, exploding people from a great distance, and creating blasts so strong that entire rooms of people are wiped from existence. So how do we balance this character? Well, we have to look back at how Dr. Manhattan sees himself, simply a puppet who is aware of the strings. In Doomsday Clock, spoilers, he constantly arranges the DC metaverse in an attempt to avoid his confrontation with Superman. So while he has near immortality, he has shown to have gaps gaps in his precognition, as no attempt to reshape history would alter Superman's showdown with this character, and the good doctor himself could not see past this confrontation. So while he is incredibly strong, we do have proof that he's not omnipotent. So let's talk about nerfs and balance. For the sake of balance, it would level the character out to have significant recovery frames on his projectiles. If he is zoning you from full screen, he must have an added recovery period before he can block, continue pressure, etc., which leaves him open to being rushed down and attacked. And because he is designed as a zoning character, any normals he has would have to be on the stubbier side to balance out the full screen projectile game he would want to play. Of course, when attempting to nerf this character, you're immediately met with the comment section echoing in your head, "That's unrealistic, he's too powerful. Well, you forgot about this one ability he has where he's able to be everywhere at once, so how can he possibly take damage to a simple corporal form?" And to that I say, you're absolutely correct, but if he is to be included in the game, one could pull from the comics where he has allowed himself to be confronted for the greater good of the timeline. Again, if Dr. Manhattan were to be included in this game, he would have to be written in as an observer, willing to be confronted and yes, sometimes defeated for the sake of research and further exploration of his effect on DC's continuity. I can see it now. Intro lines between him and Bruce Wayne detailing Bruce's introduction to Thomas Wayne in the Flashpoint universe. Lines between the Doctor and Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash, as Dr. Manhattan was the one who absolutely disintegrated him in the events of the Batman and Flash crossover, The Button. The possibilities truly are endless with this character. Hell, you can even give him a very unique character trait called precognition, where he is able to avoid damage and projectiles like UI Goku in Dragon Ball FighterZ because he sees them coming beforehand, or even better, his character trait could simply be him creating clones of himself Noob Saibot style, where one clone would go to attack the opponent while your Manhattan sits in the corner contemplating quantum physics. Finally, for his super move, I think there isn't a better scene that shows just how intimidating this guy can be than his giganticized form from the Watchmen movie. Much like Green Lantern's super in Injustice 2, getting the smack beat out of you by a Mega Manhattan would not only be visually pleasing, but a real showcase of his power. If you wanted to go even more metaphysical, he could simply throw the opponent into the multiverse and watch them take extreme psychological damage from peering into eternity. Imagine Lovecraftian dysphoria mixed with Doctor Strange's acid trip from the MCU. See, this character could have it all if NRS is brave enough to give it to him. Truly, NetherRealm would have the largest template ever to create a character that was truly unique, and also have their work cut out for them to avoid doing any of Dr. Manhattan's fanboys some sort of injustice. So let me know what you think down below. Do you think it's likely that he'll be included in Injustice 3? Do you think he is way too overpowered to throw down with mortals like Batman and Green Arrow? Do you have any other characters you'd like to see a moveset prediction for in the upcoming sequel to Injustice 2? Let's chat about it in the comments. And don't forget that you're incredible. I'm the Dr. Blue. Like, share, and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video.